It is very hard to explain what life is. Today, we bring you a story of a woman that survived the impossible and rose from the dead 3 times. She is called Annunciata. She says that her life is a miracle because she survived the impossible. She got involved in a terrible accident that no one believed that she had made it out alive, because no human could ever survive what she went through. People do not believe that she is still alive. She was mentioned dead over 3 times, and every time she came back. No one believed it at all, and they sometimes thought that she was a ghost. She says that many people say that she does not at all look like what she went through, and she always says it was all because she gave her life to Jesus that has always made a path for her in every hard time. She never forgets that morning when she woke up and had a plan to go to the prayer mountain and join others in prayer. She was in church choir, and the whole group had organized to go and spend some time praying there. They had to board a bus, but she and her 2 friends were late, and other choir members had just left a few minutes ago. And when Annunciata and her other 2 friends got to the bus park just to buy tickets, they found that all the buses left had been booked. Postponing this journey was not an option they had at all, and they really wanted to make it to the prayer mountain in order to join other choir members in prayer. So they stood by the roadside and started calling private cars that were heading in that direction and asked them to drop her there. They got one that had a businessman and his driver heading in the same direction. Fortunately, they accepted to drive them there, but before the ladies sat in the car, the businessman asked them to exchange seats so that he could sit at the front and the 3 ladies would sit at the back together. Since it was a very long journey, they had to go as fast as they could because they were driving against time. They did not even drive for 5 minutes when the worst thing that none of them ever imagined happened, and she thought that it was not real at some point. The driver hit a rock by the roadside. The car started spinning in the road. The doors opened and they all fell out of the car into the road. The car spun back and landed on the businessman. He exploded and died immediately. As for Annunciata, the front door broke off the car and landed in her stomach, but everyone thought that she was dead too, because the way the door penetrated through her, there was completely no way that she could still be alive. People ran to rescue them, and Annunciata's intestines had fallen out, and they carried them and placed them on top of her, and they did not give her any form of first aid because they thought that she was dead, and they placed her right beside the businessman's dead body.
shoferi ashobora kuba yarabikoze abishaka kuko yahise avamo atwambura amatelefone twari dufite arangije afata mashine shefu yandikisha yari arimo yandikiraho arayitwara amutwara amafaranga yaragiye guhemba abantu mu mushinga arangije ahita acika kugeza na n'uyu munsi ntaraboneka yahise adutaho ngaho arigendera.
She says that the driver might have done this on purpose because the moment they had the accident, he picked up all their phones, the bag of money that the businessman had, plus his laptop, and he ran away. And until now, he has never been found. When they got to the hospital, the doctors noticed that Anosiata was still breathing, and they immediately rushed her to the theater and started sewing some of her intestines that were still fresh, and they placed them back. But it was not the intestines only, but since the car door penetrated through her body, her urinary bladder exploded beyond repair or replacement, and the doctors fixed a tube and a bag that she uses every time she urinates, and the bag holds her urine until she goes to dispose it. Her left leg was also seriously damaged, and everyone thought that it was going to be cut off, but it just happened as a miracle, and the doctors fought as hard as they could and fixed it. But her leg and her entire body is all full of scars. However, when all this happened, Anosiata was not at all aware, because from the time they picked her from the road, she had fallen into coma, and she was awake 3 years after all this had happened. She is a mother of 4, and her children had cried enough and told her what was going on. The 2 ladies that were with her did not face any serious injury because they spent 2 days in the hospital and they went back to their homes, and nothing heavy had hit them, just like Anosiata or even the businessman that had lost his life. She says that right now, her legs are not the same size anymore because one is taller than another since it was operated. When Anosiata was in coma, she died 3 times. Her heart stopped beating, and the flatline was proof that she was no more. But always after a short while when she had died, she gained life again and started breathing, and that's when she came back to life, when her children had started making burial preparations. Her children were next to her for 3 years. She was in coma, and they always used to bring a guitar and play it while singing for her, and she says it was the greatest love that she had ever seen in her entire life. Anosiata does not have a family. She divorced her husband a few years ago, which means that her 4 children was the family she got. But as she was in the hospital, her daughter had a boyfriend that they studied together in the university, and he was the one that was always besides Anosiata for the years that she was in coma. He always brought food for her, slept under her bed each and every night, and he always brought his books and studied under Anosiata's bed. And according to Anosiata, he was a blessing that was also sent to her life. And right now, he finally got married to her daughter, which they were all happy about. A few months later, the intestines that they had fixed started rotting, and she says that this might have been a mistake that was done in the first place. So she had to go through surgery again, which was also expensive. Going to the toilet is very painful because of her damaged intestines, and it is never easy at all, according to her. She says that her mother was old and she had a heart disease. When Anosiata got involved in the accident, they did not tell her mother for a long time because her heart was so weak to handle bad news, and one day she badly wanted to know if her daughter was still alive, since she had spent a very long time without talking to her. And the moment she got to know about the accident, her heart stopped and the old woman died. Annunciata always thought about committing suicide, but she did not. Her life is now miserable because she cannot get a job anymore, and her children can't study because she does not have money to take them to school at all. She is requesting for help to give her children a better life because that is all that she has ever wanted. And before we left, she requested to pray for all other sick people in the hospitals. And here she goes.
Mana nkweretse abo bantu bose ari abafite uburwayi bwananiranye nk'ubu bwanjye, ndabasenge ubakozeho ikiganza cyawe.
Thank you for watching Afrimax English. This is Prince. Do not forget to subscribe.